Good evening and welcome to everybody to the November 1st meeting of the Champaign County Board Facility Committee. Again, I thank everybody for showing up and appreciate that we have more than a quorum. We have a full complement of members tonight, so thank you all for showing up. Roll call, please.
Rector. Here. Rosales.
Here.
Schwartz. Here. Anderson. Here. Hartke.
Here.
Quisenberry. Here. Maxwell.
Here. A motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion to second. Any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. The agenda has been approved. A motion to approve the minutes of the October 4th, 2016 meeting.
Second.
The motion's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none. Call a question. Those in favor of the minutes of the October 4, 2016 meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion carried. Next item would be public participation. I have no slips here. I see no one here to appear in public participation. So I think at this point in time, I will call that portion of our meeting to an end. The next item is item 7, the facility director's report. And I'll ask Dana to give us his report. Thank you. I'm sorry, I apparently went past communications. Do we have any communications? Mr. Quisenberry, thank you.
Strangely enough.
Strangely enough.
I just wanted to say thank you all for your work in this last year. This is, in my 6 years on the county board, I have served on facilities all 6 years. Granted, the first 2 years was a committee of the whole that dealt with facilities, but the last 4 years I've been on this committee, and I think we've made some good progress in at least quantifying the job to be done. If not, in fact, we have increased the amount of money that we're spending on our facilities over that time period. So I wish you all luck and success in moving forward with it, for those of you who are going to be on the next board, and good luck with that.
Thank you. I'm sorry that I went by that too fast, and I'm glad that you interrupted because I really appreciate your comments. Are there any other communications from the board? I'll ask the board chair if she has any communications. Thank you. So with that, item 7, the facility director's report.
Okay, thanks, Gary. First up is just a final update on the nursing home boiler project. It is complete. There's a couple of documents that we handed out early. Should have been at your seats. First one is the DCO, Department of Commerce. This is our official notification that our grant has been accepted and estimated to be $56,000. It's $55,000 some change. We're just a few $100s under $56,000. So there's a number of pieces of information that have to be completed. We have to finalize the billing, the invoice that has to be paid. We have to document that, plus a number of other things that they require, which we will obviously be providing as we move forward and get a little closer to the holidays. I anticipate finishing up everything and trying to get it to them before Thanksgiving. It's kind of my deadline personally to get it in, and then it takes, I think we would probably, based upon past opportunities when we've received grants, it takes about 60 days once you turn in the information to receive the check. So project, as I mentioned, was completed. We actually powered up the boilers and took training on October 11th. They've been operating terrifically ever since. They are efficient. We should see some reduction in our utility bills, gas usage over particularly the winter. So we're kind of excited at seeing exactly what that means and how much will be realized as we roll into the springtime. The second handout, that's kind of looks like a rainbow, gives you a quick idea of the what we're expecting as our total costs. GHR Engineering agreed not to exceed $13,000. They've only submitted payments for $10,749 to date. I would anticipate a couple more hours as they have reviewed the pay application, as I did today. So I don't anticipate that going up much higher. It certainly will not go past 13,000 because it's a not to exceed number. Ware and Sons is the temporary boilers that we rented from Kentucky, $12,291. NTech, which is our automated building services group, all the mechanicals at the nursing home are on this system. We had to put the new boilers on our system so that we can communicate with it and see what's going on. Those dollars, $7,043, and then A&R is broken out into two payments. One is the bid price, $229,500. The second is for the temporary boiler work. We had to hook up, we had to power, we had to bring water and get the water down to the basement. The boilers are put in on the outside of the building, sitting basically on the grass. So we had to pipe it inside. So there's a lot of work, prep work, and getting them up and running, and then to disconnect. That was not in our bid document because this was put together so quickly. There were several things, the intake bill and then the temporary boiler work were really done outside of the contract with not to exceed type of pricing. So felt good about it. Our total projected cost is $239.41. So anyway, we're up and running, and folks will be warm all winter. Any questions?
John?
So the money from the state, how will that work? I mean, will we get it, or is that different money than other funds?
I wasn't in the conversation, but my belief, and Rick can correct me, but Tammy and Rick have had this discussion. With the $56,000, I think that we'll credit that back to the nursing home. It'll come to us, payable to the county. We've loaned them $282,000. So we'll credit that back to them in some manner. I'm not sure which form of accounting and how that will be done, but
At some point in time.
yeah.
Thank you.
Next up is the exterior ADA compliance projects. We are finished with that. Quick reminder, we did some asphalt and concrete work, on 6 of our facilities in adjusting where our handicap parking was for 6 buildings, and either the route, slope, and cross slope, or actually where the parking is provided, slope and cross slope had to be changed in order to meet current ADA codes. Completed it last week. We had 2 overruns. We had 2 issues that came up. The first issue was at MedCAD. On the Burns and Clancy drawings, they did not have specific elevations in the drawing that was provided to the contractor, so that when the concrete was finally poured and put in place, we needed to come back in and we had to take a little more asphalt out and pour a larger amount of concrete to reduce the slope from the old asphalt pavement to the top of the new concrete, so that it was a more acceptable slope versus a very steep one. That's going to be covered under Burns and Clancy omissions and errors. That was to the tune of about $9,600. Problem 2 we ran into this building, unfortunately, not an error and omission, just a problem when we cut into the concrete in front of Brookins off of Washington. where we stopped the edge of the concrete as you're moving toward the building, the asphalt just kept crumbling. So we had to take it further out and pour more concrete. And then one of the other issues that came up, and this is the more expensive one, was we put in, when they dug out the asphalt and readied the base with the sub base, we got the sub base in, and we had a 20 by 15 area that was wet. And when we ran the compactor over it, you could just see it bubble. So we had to go in and dig that out. We'd put in 8 inches to 10 inches of rock, had to dig it out and stabilize the subsurface, and then put back the rock. It also was getting close to the weekend. We actually had to have them work on a Saturday because the following Monday, we needed the entire parking lot ready for LIHEAP's program to run, and those folks start showing up early in the morning, 4:30, 5 o'clock on a Monday morning, waiting in line and parking out there. So we had to have the walkways back in place and the asphalt done. So that's going to be about $12,000 additional dollars to the project. We'll take care of it, but it's those are the 2 issues and problems we've had. Otherwise, it's gone pretty well. We did have somebody step on a new piece of sidewalk over at the nursing home going to work, and that had to be pulled and repoured, but the contractor took care of that on his dime. So all in all, good project. They were terrific to work for. If you remember, they were extremely low. Total project value was $173,000. That also included Bailey and Edwards fees. So feel good about the overall project and very good about Schaumburg and Schaumburg. They're a construction company from Danville. So in fact, they bid on our next project, which I'll talk about here in a second, if there are no questions.
Questions? Seeing none,
Okay.
please proceed.
Interior ADA compliance project was bid out, and the recipient was Felmley Dickerson. Their price was $143,000. It's actually $144,000 plus $9,000 in an add-on, an alternate for stall dividers for restrooms over here at Brookings. So we felt pretty good about that. We had our first meeting last week. We will actually be starting the project November 16th. Signed contracts. We'll be starting in courtroom H, which is Judge Jones' courtroom. We'll be doing 2 courtrooms. There are 2 ramps located in each courtroom that did not meet ADA code. We'll be rebuilding those, tearing those ramps up and rebuilding them, moving a little bit of wood around. We'll also take the opportunity, some time ago when they took some things off of walls, the wallpaper in the courtroom was not behind a board that was supposedly going to be used for filming and writing on. So when they took them off, there was a large piece missing. It's pretty beat up in a lot of areas, so we're going to take that off, skim coat the walls, and just repaint. Will not replace with wallpaper. And then additionally, we'll recarpet. There is no attic stock. We'll be taking out the carpet. It's pretty much had it. The courtrooms are well used, both in the audience area, just with the feet, and behind the desks. At the same time, actually, in December, we'll hit courtroom L, which is downstairs on the first floor. It's one of the larger courtrooms. There are 3 large and 8 smaller. And then at the same time, we'll be coming over here to 6 restrooms, pods 100, 200, and 400. Doing small project basically in each of the 3. It's the majority of the dollars are being spent at the courthouse, but men's urinal has to be replaced. 2 of them will be taking out a couple of stools and a urinal to more appropriately arrange stall dividers for handicap spaces. Any questions?
There are no other. All right, if there are no other questions of Dana, then I think we'll proceed on to item 8, other business. Ms. Petrie.
Thank you very much. I just want to build on Mr. Quisenberry's comment. This particular committee has done outstanding work. Dana and Gary were a great team, and then Rick joined us as county administrator and helped move things along. And as Mr. Quisenberry mentioned, we both have been on the board for 6 years, and this is the first time after hearing many years of people saying the facilities were not getting proper attention, that actually they are getting proper attention as thanks to the work that you all have done. There's an action plan. The chair has a nice memo here that puts everything in perspective of the work that you all have done, and it's on the record for future boards to reflect back on this work. So my congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, Chairman Petrie. Any other questions or remarks? If not, I will move on to item 9, the chair's report. First thing I'd like to mention is the future meeting, believe it or not, will be next year, Tuesday, January 3rd, 2017 at 6:30 p.m. At this time, I'd like to take an opportunity to read into the record, and I'll try to do as fast as possible, my final report as chair of the Facilities Committee. This evening's meeting concludes the committee's work for the current 2-year county board session. This committee has worked hard. We've toured many of the county buildings and listened to hours of citizens' comments during public participation and other forums. We have built upon the works of the previous facility committees, and we have been able to focus on the current and long-term building maintenance. The committee has had the benefit of the ILPP and Sheriff Operation Planning Report to help guide us with respect to correctional facility needs. The first year of this session, the county board authorized the local firm of Bailey Edwards to prepare a facilities assessment report. The Bailey Edwards report is remarkable in many ways. It gives the county a thorough assessment of the condition of each of our 22 buildings. It provides a planning tool and a database for this and future committees and county administration. The information was gathered and placed in a nationally recognized standard format. It places Champaign County in the forefront of peer counties in confronting the issue of deferred maintenance backlogs. Once the committee received and understood the Bailey Edwards report, we realized we had both a severe deferred maintenance backlog and a serious financial underfunding problem. The board chair appointed a special committee to study ways to align revenue with projected facility needs. As we know, the special committee recommended, and the county board subsequently voted to offer a referendum for a quarter-cent facility sales tax on the November 8th general election ballot. This committee, along with the county administration, continued to work on several versions of the Champaign County Facility Action Plan. Draft C of the plan was adopted by the county board during its August 2016 meeting. The value of this plan is that the first time Champaign County has a written document to guide the future maintenance, refurbishing, and construction of its facilities. This document puts future boards on notice of the problem. Should the sales tax proposal or future funding efforts become successful, the action plan will be a means for citizens and the media to judge future board performance. The facilities action plan is truly comprehensive and that addresses most of our pressing facility needs. Since it is comprehensive, there are parts of the plan some disagree with. As my friend Chris Alex likes to note, the perfect is the enemy of the good. Since it is not perfect in the opinion of some, I encourage future committees to strive for perfection. In the meantime, I hope we can appreciate the good in the plan. I conclude my remarks by saying this meeting will be my last as chair of the Facilities Committee. It has been an honor and privilege to serve with you during this board session. I appreciate your hard work and dedication to our task, and frankly, I want to thank you for your patience, courtesy, and respect you have demonstrated to me and one another these past 2 years. I wish you all well. And that concludes my final report to the chair, as a chair of the committee. Item 10, there are no items to be placed on the consent agenda. And so we'll move to item 11, and I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a second and a motion and second, and we are now adjourned.